We live out here in the country in North Florida on 20 acres, and it's absolutely a great way to live. We've got plenty of space, we've got trees, we've got plenty of sunlight, room to move around, animals, not only wild, but also we got a couple cows now too. And there's just so many things we love about it. But one thing we don't love about it is how unreliable our power is. And we've lived through major power outages, from a Category 5 hurricane that took out power to our other house for more than 2 weeks. I had a gas generator, a Kubota gas generator, and also a diesel generator, so I'd run one during the day because the diesel was very loud, and I'd run the gas one at night. But it wasn't really efficient because I was burning probably 5 gallons of gas and 5 gallons of diesel per day. We've been keeping our eye on the technology of these solar generators, or these power stations as they're called, because we didn't want to get in too early and be first adopters of it and then regret our decision as the technology got better and better. But I think now is the time to pull the trigger. I did not pay for this. Jackery sent this to us for us to demonstrate, and we have fallen in love with it. And I'll tell you a story about it in a minute. But everything else you see in this video, we paid for, and we're actually going to use our money to expand this system to run this complete barn so that this barn is 100% off grid. Now, this model is called the HomePower 3600 Plus. It comes with 4 110 AC outlets and then also some DC outlets over here for USB type of operations. And also you can get a cord to hook to a transfer switch to power your house or your building. And that's what we're going to do in this building here. But they're sold out of transfer switches. I have one on back order right now, and that will be our next video. We're going to add a battery pack to this to increase the capacity another, I think it's 2,000 watts. It might be more than that. You can expand this from 3,600 up to 21,000 watts. And when you start getting up into that range, you're looking at something that can run your whole house, everything basically turned on at once. I'm going to flash up a chart here because I am not an electrician, and I'm not someone that geeks out on power stations or even gas generators. When I have to run a gas generator, I recognize that I can't run everything and have the amenities, all the amenities in my house, like air conditioning and hot water and the stove and everything else. When power goes out, we try and go minimalistic, run the generator as low a load as possible, and only use the essential lights and things that we need until the power comes back on. But there will be cases where your power could be out for several days or even weeks, and in that case you will want to expand. So we're going to explore that and get some expansion packs for that, but that'll be in future videos. Now, this thing is fairly light. I think it's around 65 pounds, 68 pounds, something like that. And the way it works is it stores energy in a battery, and you can plug it into a 110 outlet like right here, and get it up to 100%. And it has meters on it on the display, and it'll show you how much time you have left based on what you have plugged into it. We just got this shop spray foam, so it's not finished yet. So I've set up a temporary table here just to demonstrate how we're going to use it in this building. But I'm going to create a shelf right here, put the Jackery 3600 Plus on the shelf, and then I've already bought from Amazon, and this is a non-Jackery cord. I don't even think they sell this cord. But this cord will connect directly from the power station. And I'm going to run this cable up the wall, through the ceiling joist, and down the wall over there to where I'm going to install a transfer switch on my power into this building. And this generator is going to power this whole building. Now, this building doesn't have a high energy load or draw on it. It's mainly LED lights, and occasionally running a power tool in here. The other night it started raining, and Deb and I kid with each other because we say whenever it starts raining we're going to lose power, and I bet we didn't have 10 drops hit the house before we had our power blink. And it wasn't off for very long, but if you know anything about power surges, that's the worst thing for appliances. Jackery says this unit will run a refrigerator for a family of 3 for 14 days. So after 2 or 3 blinks of that, and we were sitting on our laptops hooked up to Starlink, that's how we get internet out here, and every time the power blinked, the Starlink would have to reset. And that takes a good 15 minutes or so. So imagine that happening just about the time you get your internet back, you get another power blink. And then it happened 2 or 3 times, and finally I said, this isn't good, we're not getting anything done. So I went out to the garage, I grabbed the Jackery, I hooked it up to the Starlink, I hooked up our laptops to it, we were charging our phone with it, and we just let the power stabilize, let the storm blow over, and then when everything was said and done, we recharged it through the outlet in the house and hooked everything back up on grid. But for a good 4 or 5 hours, we were running 100% on Jackery, not missing a beat. So quick walk around of the unit. You have some resets over here. You have your power in to recharge it. Then you have your expansion where you hit your battery packs, either DC or AC. And then you have your DC input, which I believe is your solar input, and that's what we're going to be using today. And over here you have your transfer switch or your 30 amp RV plug, 4 110 switched outlets that you can reset or turn off right here. And then you can turn on your USB ports here. You have the full size and also the mini. And then there's your power on and off button. So we'll turn it on. It should be at 100% power. Okay, 100% power and 0 input and 0 output. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook solar panels up to it. We're going to draw it down a little bit by hooking it up to something and watching the drawdown. And then we're going to hook it up to solar and see if we can match the output with the input. So what we're going to hook up to it is our 48 volt electric Hyson utility vehicle. And it is currently down 1 battery increment on the charging. So we're going to see what kind of drawdown it has when we hook this thing up. But this is something I'm really excited about. This thing is electric, so it doesn't require any gas, no oil changes, nothing. And we use this 8 to 10 times a day. This thing is just constantly in motion. Absolutely love it. Great machine. And then it's supposed to be plugged in for trickle charging every night, but we'll probably plug it in every 3rd or 4th night or so and let it charge overnight. So we're very interested to see if this Jackery can keep this thing charged. And then that makes this 100% off grid because we're going to recharge the Jackery with solar panels. All right, we'll hit the power button just to re-energize the screen. Still says 0 in, 0 out, and it's showing 100%. So first of all, we got to turn on the outlet by hitting this button. Now our outlets are energized. We're going to plug it in. So it's saying it's outputting almost 1400 watts to charge. And we got 2.5 hours of charge left in the Jackery. And there's what it is, the 3600 plus. We have that much left in it. And that's assuming we have no input. You can also use this unit as a surge protector, and you could actually plug it into 110 and then it would power the side-by-side but also protect it from voltage surging and things like that, and also provide uninterrupted battery backup power in the event that you were to lose power from there. It would still keep charging the side-by-side. So we're going to let that charge. The indicator that it's charging is over there. I have a blinking green light. We're going to draw down some power, and now we're going to set up something to input some power. So I've got my solar panels there, and as I mentioned earlier, I bought them. I paid $800 for them on Amazon. That is a 500 watt package, and they're made to be either mounted side by side or they can be put in like an accordion. They provide all the hinges and everything for that. And they're supposed to be able to charge not only from the front but the back side when they're in the accordion configuration. But my plan is to put this to the solar and this to the Jackery for our input. Set up all the panels here. And I've already had the panels out and looked at them, and they're really light and real easy to set up and configure. They're already pre-wired. You just plug them together, and then the last plug goes into here. Eventually, what I want to do is I want to get something set up here permanent above the garden bed so it doesn't block the sun to the vegetables we're going to be growing here, and have my 6 solar panels here. This is southern exposure. This gets sun, tons of sun, and should be a great place to have solar panels. I've been thinking about this. I think this building is 5 years old, 4 years old. I've been thinking about it since this building was built, how perfect this area would be for solar. So let's get out the solar panels. They're light and they all fit in this Jackery case. And I took them out of the box, and they're actually double boxed and just real easy, you know, to unbox, package, and then get ready for setup. So they have 2 sides to them. We're going to put orange up, and we're going to put the electrical at the bottom. I don't know if it makes a difference, but there is one side that goes to the sun, and that's the side with the electrical connection. And then the other side looks exactly the same, but they say to point this side towards the sun. I think I'll go ahead and run the electrical connections at the top just because that'll be easier for this demonstration. And remember, this is temporary. You don't want to set up expensive solar panels like this and have the wind blow them around, but this is just for the demonstration. So I'm just going to lean them like that. I think that's going to work out perfectly. And you only have so much line here, so you can't put them very far apart. It may actually be a challenge because these garden beds are not going to be big enough to run them all. I could do the accordion style, and then that would make them, and by that I mean they would be like this, and they have hinges on them, and that would take up less space. And this is designed to be done this way, like if you're camping or something. It doesn't have to be a permanent install. If you're already familiar with solar, and whether it's Jackery or whatever you use, give us some tips and tricks and stuff for solar. These are 500 watt. We're going to see how much wattage we get out of this Florida sun. But how would you set these up? You can see how wide they would be with my 6 panels, and I want them centered on that window, and I want them raised. So I'm thinking a steel or an aluminum pole and some welded horizontals, and then screw these to them. I mean, I really think that's as simple as the bracket needs to be. Let's check and see where we're at with power here. So we're down to 94%, and now this is just the time it took us to set up those solar panels, and we have 2.4 hours of power left. So now we're going to hook these together, and then one of these has to connect to the input into the generator. So the first thing I would say is I wish that Jackery had given a little bit more cord, because this will definitely connect together. It slides a little bit. It'll connect together when they're side by side, but there's not a ton of extra room. And this has to end up at the end, because this is a female plug and we need a male plug. So this is actually going to have to end up on that one. Now I'm not going to get optimal charging with these not all at the right angle. It's the best I can do in this temporary configuration. So if you're worried about battery life, Jackery's claiming 10-year life, and I'll put the data up above because I can't remember it off the top of my head, but like 7,000 cycles or something of it charging and discharging. And then they say even after that time frame, it's still got like 50 or 70% of its battery life. So this is definitely a long-term investment. We'll take this cord, Jackery supplied, and with the solar panels, we'll plug that in. And let's go plug it into the power station. I know that's a little wonky, but just think about that. This video is going to be, what, 15 minutes long? And a lot of it's going to be real time. That probably didn't take me more than 5 minutes to set that up. And if you put that in a location like this where the wind isn't going to blow it over, let's say you're camping or something, I mean, you're good to go. Down to 90%. And there's the cable that's coming from the solar panel. See it coming through the window there, and I'm going to plug it in on the other side of the power station. Boom, I just plugged it in. So they're 500 watt panels just set up out there. They're not at the optimal angle. 2 of them are more vertical than the rest. Quick setup, we're getting almost 400 watts of input, so that's close to 100%. And we've taken our discharge, which was 2.4 hours, up to 2.9 hours. And we're discharging faster than we are charging, so the only way that that will even out, or that will get ahead of the game, is if the side-by-side, the Hyson, stops taking power. So you can see with solar panels and you're drawing a continuous 1400 watts, we're getting more wattage now too. It's about 2 hours later, and I wanted to give you an update on the Jackery. So it's been sitting here in the sun, or the panels have been, and we're down to 34% battery. We're bringing in 370 watts because we have a different angle on the sun now, and we are using 400 watts instead of 1300 to charge the Hyson. So the battery right now, based on the input versus the output, it would last 12 hours. And that 412 number should go down as the Hyson gets to a full charge condition. So Jackery's testing on the solar panel is that if they're only getting 25%, which would be about 100 watts or so, that it will recharge that battery in, or that power station, in 2.5 hours. So it's getting, close to 500 watts. It's getting over 400 watts now, so it will charge it even faster. And that's what you got to do. You got to bank that power, because there's going to be times when it's cloudy. There's going to be, of course, nightfall when you want to use it at night. But right there is a real life demonstration of how these things work. And it'll be even more efficient and more convenient once I get the mounts done and I get the transfer switch in. And that will mean every light that I run on here will be for free. You'll have your initial upfront costs, but Jackery is claiming 10 years on the battery, and then after 10 years, you're still going to have quite a bit of efficiency left in the battery, so it doesn't just end at 10 years. To be 100% clear, we are not trying to go 100% off-grid here at Piney Grove. We're going to remain attached to the grid, but we love the fact that we can get power from the sun and use it not only as emergency backup power, because we already talked about how frequently we need that, but it's exciting to us to have that 3600 plus power this whole barn, the lights, and everything we need in there to take care of our animals, because here in Florida it gets hot in the summer and we're going to be running fans 24 hours a day in that barn, and it'll be great to be able to not have an electrical bill because of that. But that's going to wrap up today's video, folks. We sure appreciate you watching. We're going to leave some links down below to Amazon and also to Jackery. Jackery does offer us a slight commission if you buy from them, and we also get a little bit of commission from Amazon if you buy from them. But it doesn't cost you 1 penny more no matter where you buy it from if you use our links. But we're sold on this. We are going to expand this at our expense and have something here on the property to augment our other power sources, whether it's on-grid power that comes through a cable underground to our transformer over here, or one of our gas generators. We want to have multiple backup power options out here so we can keep Piney Grove running 24/7. But that'll wrap it up. So until next time, y'all take care out there. We'll catch you on the next one.